What is up? Been doing a lot of thinking recently about my calling, and I guess to back up a little bit, this is meant to be a video journal or a vlog, I guess. Technically, this is a video log. Maybe I'm changing the definition of words now, but I found myself twice today lecturing somebody, and not in the negative way. I found myself acting like a teacher. I've never taught anything before in my life. I've never stood in front of a class and lectured, but I found myself doing it twice today, and it was just the one person. It was great. It was awesome, but I'm starting to wonder if that is part of my calling, and maybe I'm missing something by not partaking in educating. I've heard a few of my mentors, at least I've heard of at least 2 or 3 of my mentors that said, I never thought of myself as an educator. I believe Rich Dad Poor Dad said that. I believe Robert Kiyosaki said no, I know he did say we knew that we were meant to start an education company. And I've just kind of had that in the back of my head for the longest time, that there's so much to be taught out there. There's just so much, and I think a lot of times I feel really called. I feel strongly called to educate people in a couple of specific areas, but in many things that I know, but a couple of specifics. One of those areas is in passive income, passive cash flow, for the purpose of not spending your life working to make money to pay for the bills for that month, or to pay for the bills for next month, or even next year's bills. I don't believe that we were meant as Americans to spend our lives supporting ourselves. I believe that was something that I think our forefathers envisioned something a little bit different. They were doing it themselves. They were providing for themselves in a passive way. They were focusing on more people than just themselves. They weren't spending they weren't spending 40 hours a week working to make sure that they had food on the table for just the next week or for the next month. That's not what they were doing. A lot of them. And good or bad, you can forget. You can leave all the other stuff that they did or didn't do on the table. I'm not interested in it. What I am interested in is taking the positive attributes from everyone that I can and pairing them with myself, combining them with the other attributes that I've learned already, and turning that into something, becoming the best that I can be. We were all meant to affect the world. We were all meant to be world changers. God designed us to be world changers. That doesn't stop just because you have trouble providing for your family. That doesn't stop just because you're only 20 years old. You're only 18 and you're going to college and blah, blah, blah. Shut up. None of that matters. That's all bullcrap. It doesn't matter that you're 16 or 12 or 53, 65. We are not meant to just be focused on ourselves. I'm not bashing any one way of life, but I am bashing the hugely overrated consumerism of the current time frame that we're in. In 2021, all it seems like a lot of people all it seems like people care about, and let me back up. In the 2010s, the 2020s, all it seems like people care about overall is themselves and quote unquote providing a good life for their family. I hear that all the time. I want to provide a better life for my family than what I had when I was a kid. I want my kids to not grow up wondering if there's going to be food on the table. I want my kids to not grow up hearing daddy answer the phone to a bill collector. That's great. That's awesome. You want better for your kids, but honestly, that's setting the bar so low that it's almost shameful. Not so much for the people saying it, but for the people that know a better way. We're not getting the word out there. We're not getting the word out there enough. I'm talking to two people at a time, and maybe I'm getting through, maybe I'm not, but I'm not affecting enough people. I was called to do more than just onesies and twosies, teaching to the just small amounts of people. I was created in the image of God. I am a son of a God. I am a son of God. And and I'm living in a society where it seems like everyone around me is either focused on themselves, or even the ones that are trying to aspire to do more. Many of them are so small-minded, it makes me sick. Like, there's all these big words that people use, ascend and all this stuff. Some of the super spiritual, touchy-feely people use these words, and I used to think this was really odd, really weird, really janky, but it's starting to ring true. Maybe not in the way they meant it to be, but we were meant to ascend. We were meant to become better than what we are. We were meant to become more than what we are. That doesn't mean we're going to change. That means that we are going to look differently. Our results should look differently than what our parents' results did, than what our friends' parents' results did. All the time you hear about somebody's boat getting repoed, somebody's car getting towed, blah, 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 blah. Even in the upper middle class, wondering if you're going to be able to retire on time, looking forward to retirement because there's just this thing at the end of the tunnel. It's not the way life was meant to be lived. To work all your life to have a better than grade D lifestyle, and then to say, hey, when I retire, that's when my golden years are going to start. I'm going to be able to do stuff. That's crap. Your life is meant to be lived in the moment. It's not meant to be lived in the future. It's not meant to be lived in the past, and so many people focus on that, but I can talk on that so much. That being said, we were meant to do more. I was meant to do more. And I'm not going to I won't say anything about, I don't know. There's a lot going on in my head. I don't feel shameful about the fact that I'm not doing as much as what I feel I'm called to do. However, in all honesty, what are we doing? What are we doing if all we're doing is just affecting one or two people? YouTube's out there. The results of YouTube, the consequences of what that's turned into. So many things are free, so many things are accessible, and yet there's still so many people that are being taught day in, day out, focus on yourself, treat yourself, be worried about yourself, be worried about your family, and that's it. That's it. You have one responsibility, that's to you and your family. That's it. We're being sold a bill of goods. There are people that have way more influence than what we realize that are selling us a bill of goods. There's so much more to this life. Even as a Christian, there's so much more to this life than living the way that modern day or even pre-modern Christians think of life. Oh, well, if you trust God, everything's going to be all right. We are barely scratching the surface of almost everything we talk about in Christian culture, whether it comes to the scripture, whether it comes to, when you sit in a church setting, look around you and start to wonder how many of these people are truly being spoken to by God. You're only in there once a week, maybe twice. Maybe if you have a small group and you're super active, you're in church 3 times a week. But honestly, most of our society has fallen by the wayside when it comes to the Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. So it's probably a lot less than what it was in the early 2000s. A lot lower numbers of hours in church on average for a Christian, for a practicing Christian that claims they follow God. And that's not, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, that you should be getting more hours in an official church building. What I'm saying is that I don't think that we are living to the extent that we should be living. We have so much more to do. We are not fulfilling our purpose in life. We are not fulfilling the calling God has given us. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're so focused on things like COVID. I said it. Who cares? All right. If you're going to die, you're going to die. We're so focused on all this stuff, all this static. We focus on something and then it goes out of our eyesight and we get lost in, oh, I don't know what to do. So then we pick something else, right? Static goes across the screen. There's black and white, and just find something to follow until it's off the screen. And then go back to following something else. Find something else to follow. There was the attacks in Libya. There was the terror attacks, the 2001 terror attacks. There was, I'm talking about the Twin Towers. 9/11. Yeah. I'm calling out. There's the holy war on terrorism that has nothing to do with terror. In fact, the terrorism that a lot of us believed was true, we're finding out a lot of that was manufactured by the government. We've been living, for as long as I know, right? I only remember things as far back as maybe Elway and the Super Bowls that he won. Clinton sold missile codes to China. Like, this stuff is so distracting, and we get so hung up on it, so hung up on the political conspiracies, the non-political conspiracies, who runs the world, the Rothschilds, the whatevers. You know what? Who cares? Who cares? This is all due, I believe, to a scarcity mindset. This has to do with the fact that we focus so much on the wrong things. We're being led astray, and it is by some people that are pretty darn powerful. I don't think that we realize how powerful they are in all in all, but there's so much out there. you want to talk about Satan coming in and doing stuff. I don't think Satan is in any one single thing. I think Satan is in the ability to distract. Watch the cups game. You move 3 cups around, figure out which one the ball's in, or keep track on which one the ball's in. And then you've got a guy that comes in and starts shouting or does something stupid, walks in a funny hat. Half the people look up, oh, they don't know what's going on now. All you have to do is lose your attention span for a second, for a split second, and you're done. Texting while driving. I mean, there's so many good analogies of how this is, but seriously, this world's so caught up in a bunch of crap. It's not worth the time of day that it takes to talk about it. There's so much more that we could be talking about. There's so much, we talk about the welfare of children. Talk about I can't remember the name of the program, but there's some of these programs out here: sex trafficking, anti-sex trafficking, and child trafficking. Just fighting this stuff, and that's great that they're getting the word out there. But the only reason why these programs have to be promoted so much is because so many of us are focused on the wrong thing. I was for years, for decades. I was lost in so much crap, paying bills, doing stuff that just shouldn't matter. But that being said, it's hard to see that if you don't understand that there's a better way, that there's a way that many people have found, but they're not able to get it out to everybody. Not enough people are spreading the word. Back to what I said at the start of this video, because this is a 17-minute ramble. Passive cash flow. If you can make money while you sleep, and you have a way to scale that generation of revenue to the point where you can pay your bills while you're sleeping, then when you wake up, you can do everything else that was left to do after you made the money that you needed to pay the bills. You want to talk about saving the world, being a world changer. Try deleting all the distractions in your life. Try forgetting about all the distractions. Try deleting one distraction, one huge distraction. Don't go for the small ones. This isn't Dave Ramsey. We're not snowballing debt. Delete one huge distraction. Whether that's TV, media. The average American spends, I think it's somewhere around 3.5 hours of TV, 3.5 hours viewing TV media every day. If you include Facebook, TikTok, and all these other amazing social websites, it's probably a lot higher than 3.5. I'd say it's closer to 5-7 hours a day. But that being said, there's a book called Set for Life by Scott Trench, and he talks a lot about he talks about a lot of things, but one thing he talks about, and the whole purpose of the book, is to up your quality of life by deleting things that are distraction. So the number one distraction that he talks about is, when it comes to money, is your biggest payment. What's your biggest payment? What's everyone's biggest payment? I don't know a single person that can say, I have a bigger bill than my house. And if you, or your rent, your whatever, you're the roof over your head, if you have a bigger bill than the rent or mortgage you pay, and you're not like living with mom and dad, then you might need to go sell that car or turn it into the dealer. Do a voluntary repossession, because that car is not worth what you're paying for it. One of these days it won't matter. One of these days, like, you can have that car times 10 if you get on track right now to start